is people get put in position and they fuck around knowing they can't be fired because the person who's funding the business isn't there. We've seen this on Shift Ramp, and this transcends color, right? But where the person who's funding it or whose business it actually is, like in the name of, isn't actually there, and they leave the manager in position, right? And everything goes to shit, even though this manager is saying everything's great, everything's fine, we have everything we need, and the business owner even finds out. And I'm not saying it's true in this situation, I'm just saying, like in those shows, mismanagement of money, right? But that whole thing was three idiots trying to take over this man's business. And to cover for let me watch my words. To cover for, because I want to say something that starts with an F, but I can't. Cover for this maggot, because that's exactly what he is. Let's just be clear. That's exactly what he is. Cover for this maggot who got caught, and after all that drama, the man's demoted and isn't even an instructor anymore. Really done by his grandmother, in my opinion, to avoid a lawsuit. That's what happens when you play at shit that you know nothing about. That's what happens when you, I'm going to say that again. That is what happens when you play at shit that you know nothing about. And you just like a title. And that's in the black church. Not all of it, but it's in the church in general. You just like a title that's in the academia. You just like this title with a bunch of letters after your name. But what are you're not doing any of it. And you really don't know what the fuck you're doing. There isn't a teacher here. What teaching is being done? Much less educating. Much less instructing. What is being done? So I had to actually go through my book over again. That's why I'm coming back to redo assignments I should have done at the start of this. I think this is the third week. It took 3 weeks when I could have been getting hours. But I'm not mad about it, because if I'd stayed in school and did that, I would be here until December of this year. I started 7 or 8 months ago. At this point, it's 8 months ago. And I was the only student who came diligently most of the time. Really. The barbers ain't shit. Well, I won't say that, because one of them actually had to go get a job. He was probably scamming the system, but that's an aside. And I get it. People want to get a job. And it's not actually a bad thing, because he actually wanted to work. But you get it, right? The other one, he had to go get a job too, because the government took him off. And Indiana ain't shit either. So there's that. So fuck Indiana sideways and under and every which way. And I don't mean any way that's pleasurable. So fuck Indiana. And the only barber I have seen not begrudgingly do anything, because in my state of Indiana, barbers can basically do everything that a cosmetologist can do, sort of, except for like a couple things. I can't use a straight razor on someone, like to line them up or things like that. That's the only thing I can't do. That's why I chose to do cosmetology versus barber, because I had debated just going for barber. But anyway, men, they're all black. This is a all black beauty school, except for the one white girl who just got here. But I'm sure she's in shock. There's a new girl too. She knows this ain't shit. And we've had a talk. But anyway, they just got here. They're new students. So, and the thing about the school, it's the cheapest. It just is. But anyway, speeding up, and if anybody has questions, I'll answer them. I was told to stop texting my instructor, because I really read him for filth, and there's actually nothing wrong with that. You are allowed to message your instructor, and I didn't abuse him. It was verbal abuse. You are allowed to message your instructor. I've never been at any school that tells you are not allowed to message your instructor or your professor. Again, I went through community college. Never ever was I told you cannot communicate through these acceptable avenues. You cannot message your professor. How the fuck do you teach a class then? But anyway, and if the teacher had a problem, the teacher would have addressed it. This little boy won't address shit. Again, one of the reasons I'd never ever deal with a single mother raised boy. And it's not even just single mother. That's not even in the crux of the matter. It's you did not have a good relationship with women in your life, and your only reference or place for women in your mental is to defend you and get you, because that's what the meeting was, where he got his two mamas, his fat one and his skinny one, who are employees, to come to battle for him against me and sit there and spout lies, which his grandmother had to come correct. Anyway, I was messaged, I think, like 2 days ago. How's everything? And this was not to ask me. Again, I have blocked this maggot. I have blocked this Negro, because I can't say either word. And he's both. So, either word I want to call him, I can't say on this platform. So, I was just trying to get all my work done, got it, right? Then here comes the zinger, of course. Is that why you were messaging so-and-so? There's a BT. All these stray kitties, they need to come home with me. It's a cute BT. Anyway, the school that I go to, it's in Gary. Guess who's fixing up Gary? It's not Negroes. It's the Latinos and the Hispanics who are buying up these houses and flipping them and making them nice. Anyway, and those are the people who people want out the country. But anyway, the Negroes who are legally here don't do shit for this country. Ain't worth a damn. But, they're the ones we don't want. People who are actually putting their finances into shit. And I'm saying people don't want people who are brown, cloaked as brown, here, period. That's why I'm not accusing people of being illegal. But the brown folk is the one, that's why I'm happily identifying the way that I identify, because I don't relate to none of this shit. I really don't. I don't relate to being an Aint shit. I don't relate to this shit. I don't relate to maggotry. I don't. Anyway, I was called up. So, is that why you're messaging so-and-so? I have the maggot blocked because of the shit he pulled. I'm going to go into the store, and I'm going to finish this later, too, because I'm actually at school, and I want to go into this gas station to get me a drink. So